I never thought a simple family road trip through the American West would shatter everything I knew about loyalty. But that's exactly what happened. My name is Emily Carter. And at 28, I've always been the rock in our family, the one who plans and picks up the pieces without a word of complaint. Growing up in the dusty suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona, I learned early on that being reliable was my role. My younger sister, Sarah, 2 years my junior, was the firecracker, emotional, charismatic, the one who could charm a snake out of its skin. Mom and Dad, Linda and Robert Carter, adored her spirit, always quick to soothe her tantrums or bail her out of jams. Me? I was the fixer, the one they turned to when bills piled up or plans went sideways. It started innocently enough. 5 weeks before our big adventure, Sarah announced at our weekly Sunday barbecue that she was treating the family to an epic road trip across the western states, from Phoenix up through the Grand Canyon, into Utah's Red Rock Canyons, and ending with a luxurious stay at a dude ranch in Wyoming. All on me, she boasted, raising a glass of iced tea like she'd just struck oil. Mom's eyes lit up. Dad clapped her on the back, praising her for finally stepping up. I sat there, forcing a smile, because I knew the truth. She'd mouthed a sly thanks to me across the table. The whole thing was on my dime. Gas money, hotel bookings, national park passes, even the fancy SUV rental for Dad's bad knees. I'd footed it all, quietly, because that's what I did. Kept the peace. Didn't rock the boat. But that night, driving home under the starry Arizona sky, a knot twisted in my gut. It wasn't the first time Sarah had taken credit for my efforts. Back in high school, when she scraped by graduation, I shelled out $2,000 for her party. Tent, catering, the works. She thanked Mom and Dad in her speech, and they beamed like proud parents. I flipped burgers in the background. Invisible. Then there was her first apartment in downtown Phoenix. I co-signed the lease with my solid credit from my marketing analyst job. She posted selfies about adulting on Instagram, never mentioning my role. And the engagement ring fiasco? She begged for a $5,000 loan for a sparkler from some flash-in-the-pan boyfriend. When it crashed and burned, she kept the ring and ghosted on repayment. Gifts were another sore spot. Every holiday, I'd buy presents from both of us because Sarah was broke or stressed. Mom would gush. Sarah always nails it, holding up the artisanal candles or leather wallet I'd agonized over. Idinot. Swallow the bitterness. Tell myself family meant sacrifice. But planning this road trip pushed me to the edge. I spent evenings after work mapping routes on my laptop, booking pet-friendly motels for Dad's old Labrador, reserving guided hikes, and even splurging on a hot air balloon ride over the canyons. All charged to my card. My parents never asked how. It was just assumed Sarah had grown up. The morning we set off, the sun baked the asphalt as we loaded the SUV in our driveway. I was buzzing with cautious optimism. Maybe this trip would mend the cracks. Let us bond over campfires and scenic views. But Sarah cornered me by the garage. Loosen up, Em, she snapped. You're sucking the fun out of this already, with your control freak vibe. I blinked, stunned. I'd been up late packing snacks and first aid kits she hadn't touched. What? I'm just making sure we're set. Her eyes flashed. See? Always about you. Can't you let me shine for once? People in the neighborhood might have heard if she'd yelled louder. But I hushed her. Sarah. Not now. Let's hit the road. We made it 3 hours north, pulling into a dusty rest stop near Sedona for a break. Red rocks towered around us, the kind that make you feel small. I was stretching my legs, grabbing waters from the cooler, when Sarah exploded again. "You're ruining everything," she shouted, drawing stares from truckers and tourists. "Your nitpicking is killing the vibe." I tried to calm her. "Sarah, breathe," but her hand flew out, slapping me hard across the face. The crack echoed like thunder in the dry air. My cheek stung, vision blurred. Phones whipped out. A family nearby froze mid-picnic. Mom and Dad rushed over from the picnic tables. I expected concern, maybe a hug. Instead, Dad barked. "What did you say to upset her?" "Emily," Mom pulled Sarah close. "Why can't you just let her enjoy this?" Sarah sobbed into Mom's shoulder. "She's been picking at me all morning. I can't take it." It was a lie, polished and perfect. And they bought it. No questions. Standing there, face throbbing, strangers filming, I felt something snap, not rage, but a cold, clear resolve. For 28 years, I'd been their ATM and scapegoat. "No more." I mumbled. "I need a minute," and walked to the SUV. Heart pounding. Leaning against the hot metal, I pulled out my phone. Every reservation was in my name. The SUV rental, motel bookings, park permits, even the ranch stay. I'd paid it all. In that moment, self-preservation kicked in. I wasn't plotting revenge. I was drawing a line in the sand. First, I called the rental company. "I'd like to adjust my booking," I said calmly. The agent was efficient. "Downgrading from the SUV to a compact convertible? Sure. MS. Carter. Refund processed. Next. The motels, 1 room instead of 2.
Solo traveler.
Enjoy your adventure," the clerk chirped. Park passes? Cancelled for 3. The Dude Ranch? Just you?
Aloha, ea.
Happy trails. Each call lifted a weight, like shedding chains I'd worn too long. By the time I finished, I felt reborn. I strode back to the picnic area. They were chatting like nothing happened, Sarah scrolling her phone, Mom unpacking sandwiches, Dad petting the dog. "I'm heading out," I announced. Mom frowned.
What?
"We're all going together." I shook my head. "Not anymore." Sarah's laugh was sharp, disbelieving. "Quit joking."
Eminencia.
"This isn't funny." But I held up my phone, showing the emails, cancellations, refunds, modifications. The SUV was now a zippy 2-seater in my name only. Motels? Single occupancy. Everything else? Wiped for them. Dad's face hardened. "You did what?" He snatched my phone, scrolling furiously. Sarah paled, whispering,
No.
"This can't be real." Mom's hand flew to her mouth. "Emily, how could you?" A trucker nearby paused, eyeing us warily. But no one intervened. This was the Wild West. After all, where folks minded their own. Dad dialed the rental company on speaker. "There's a mistake," he growled. The agent confirmed. "Only Emily Carter on the reservation now. Others canceled 10 minutes ago." Sarah's eyes welled up.
Why?
"I planned this." I met her gaze.
No.
"You didn't." "I did. Every mile, every booking, my money, my time." The air thickened with shock. Mom stammered, "We can fix this. Call them back." But I stood firm. "It's done." Dad's voice rose. "This is immature."
Emily.
"You're stranding us here," strangers murmured. A state trooper in the lot glanced over, but stayed put. Assault like a slap might warrant a report. But in Arizona, family disputes often got a pass unless escalated. Legally, I knew I was clear. No contracts broken. Just personal boundaries enforced. Sarah had crossed a line with that slap. Domestic battery. Technically, but I wasn't pressing charges. This was about reclaiming my life, not courts. Sarah grabbed my arm.
I'm sorry.
Okay? I lost it. Stress from work.
The drive. Please. Eminência.
Her nails dug in, but I pulled away gently. Apologies don't erase years of this.
Sarah.
You've taken credit, taken money, taken me for granted. I listed it out, the graduation party, the lease, the ring, the gifts. Mom's tears flowed. We didn't know. Dad interrupted. You should have said something. I sighed. I did, in quiet ways. You never listened. A horn blared from the highway, snapping the tension. The trooper approached casually. Everything all right here? Dad waved him off. Family matter. But the officer eyed my reddened cheek.
Mom.
You okay? I nodded. Just a disagreement. I'm leaving. He handed me a card. If you need to file a report. Sarah's face crumpled, realization hitting that her outburst had consequences beyond drama. I grabbed my bag from the SUV, transferring it to the new convertible the rental shuttle delivered right there. Efficient service in these parts. You can Uber home or whatever, I said. Phoenix isn't far. Dad blocked my path. If you drive off, don't come back. We're done. His words stung. But I saw the bluff, the man who'd taught me responsibility but excused Sarah's lacks. I'm not abandoning you, I replied softly. You abandoned me first. I slid into the driver's seat. Top down. Engine purring. As I pulled onto the interstate, wind whipping my hair, their figures shrank in the rearview. Sarah pacing, Mom consoling her, Dad arguing with no one. Freedom tasted like desert air, dry,
First.
full of possibility. I wasn't gleeful. A pang of guilt hit. But it faded with each mile. This wasn't petty payback, it was survival. Heading north alone, the red rocks of Sedona gave way to pine forests. I stopped at a viewpoint, watching the sun dip low, painting the canyons gold. My phone buzzed nonstop. Text from Sarah, how could you? Voicemails from Mom, come back. Honey. Dad's demands, fix this now. I silenced it, focusing on the road. At my first motel in Flagstaff, a cozy spot with mountain views, I checked in solo. The clerk smiled. Rough day. I chuckled. Getting better. That night, under crisp sheets, I reflected. For years, I'd enabled their patterns, thinking it was love. But love shouldn't erase you. In Western culture, we romanticize rugged individualism, the cowboy riding off alone. Maybe that's what I needed, to forge my own trail. Legally, nothing tied me. Emotionally, chains were breaking. The next day, I hit the Grand Canyon. Standing at the rim, vast chasm below, I felt small yet empowered. No rushing for photos or complaints about heat. I hiked a trail, boots crunching gravel, mind clearing. Sarah would have whined. Dad griped about crowds. Alone, it was peace. I even joined a ranger talk, learning about erosion, how time carves canyons, much like neglect carves resentment. By Utah's arches, red spires against blue sky. Guilt crept back. Were they okay? A quick search showed cheap buses south. They'd managed. Dad had retirement savings. Mom her part-time job. This forced growth. Maybe. I texted once. Safe. Need space. No reply needed. At a diner in Moab. Over chili and cornbread. I overheard a family laughing genuinely. It stung, but inspired. My story wasn't over. Perhaps redemption lay ahead. The trip morphed from family escape to self-discovery. I blasted country tunes, windows down, singing off-key.
No judgments.
Nearing Wyoming, the Dude Ranch loomed, a sprawling spread with horses and cabins. I'd kept my booking, upgrading to a private suite. The owner, a weathered cowboy named Hank, greeted me. "Just you? Welcome anyway." That evening, around a campfire with strangers, sharing stories under stars, I felt connected, not isolated. But family ties tugged. A voicemail from Sarah. I get it now. I was wrong. Let's talk. Humane doubt stirred. Was stranding them too harsh? The old ending would have left them bitter. This new path hinted at healing. Maybe the lesson was boundaries breed respect. As the Wyoming plains unfolded, golden under the endless sky, my solo adventure deepened. The Dude Ranch was a slice of western heaven. Log cabins, trail rides, and evenings by the fire pit with s'mores and guitar strums. Without my family, I dove in learning to rope, riding horseback through sagebrush valleys. Hank, the owner, paired me with a gentle mare named Dusty. "She'll take care of ya," he drawled, galloping across the open range. Wind in my face. I felt alive, unburdened. But echoes of that rest slap lingered. My cheek had faded to a faint bruise, but the emotional scar throbbed. In quiet moments, staring at the Teton's jagged peaks, I pondered the fallout. Legally, Sarah's slap could have been assault, misdemeanor in Arizona, potential fine or counseling. But pressing charges felt vindictive. I wanted growth, not punishment. Instead, this separation enforced natural consequences, them figuring out logistics without my safety net. Phone notifications piled up. Dad's text shifted from anger, ungrateful, to "Please, we miss you." Mom's voicemails wavered. "Emily, we're home safe. Uber cost a fortune. Please call." Sarah's were a roller coaster, defensive rants. Then apologies. I screwed up big time. That slap was inexcusable. Therapy? I'll go. I didn't respond yet. Space was my ally. One afternoon, after a trail ride, I sat by a creek, skipping stones. A fellow guest, an older woman named Clara from Colorado, joined me. "You look like you've got a story," she said. I spilled it all, the years of enabling, the slap, the cancellations. She nodded wisely. "Sounds like codependency. Out here in the West, we learn early. You can't pour from an empty cup. Boundaries ain't selfish, they're survival." Her words resonated. That night, under a blanket of stars, I journaled. What lesson could emerge? Not revenge's bitterness, but forgiveness through accountability. Perhaps this rupture could rebuild us stronger. Driving south toward home, I detoured through Yellowstone, geysers erupting like suppressed emotions. Old Faithful's reliability mirrored my old self. Now, I sought balance. At a hot spring, steam rising, I finally called home. Mom answered, voice trembling. "Emily, we talked, tears, admissions. We favored Sarah," she confessed. "It was easier. We're sorry." Dad joined. "I should have protected you." Sarah got on. "I hit rock bottom stranded there. Realized I've been a leech. I'll pay you back." Starting with that ring. It wasn't instant magic, but seeds of change. I suggested family counseling, neutral ground, professional guidance. In the U.S., therapy's common for family drama. Legally, it could prevent escalations. They agreed. "When you get home?" Mom asked.
"Soon. I said.
But on my terms. Arriving in Phoenix days later, the desert heat welcomed me like an old friend. Home felt different, my apartment a sanctuary. Unpacking, I found a letter slipped under the door. From Sarah. Handwritten.
Ink.
I'm selling the ring. Check enclosed for $5,000. Starting therapy next week. Love you. The check was real.
A start.
We met at a neutral coffee shop in Scottsdale. Tensions high, but honest. Dad admitted blindness. I praised her flair. Ignored your strength. Mom hugged me tight. We see you now. Sarah. Eyes down. That slap was my lowest.
No excuse.
I'll earn trust back. We outlined steps, repayments, equal chores. No more credit taking. Counseling booked for all. It wasn't perfect. Old habits die hard. But the West teaches resilience, like canyons carved by rivers. Time shapes us. My act wasn't cruel. It was a wake-up call. The lesson? Family thrives on mutual respect, not one-sided sacrifice. Choose yourself, and others might follow. Reintegration wasn't seamless. Back in Phoenix, the family dynamic shifted like tectonic plates under the Sonoran Desert. Our first counseling session was raw, held in a strip mall office. Neutral territory. The therapist,
Dr.
Ramirez, a no-nonsense Latina with a psychology degree from ASU, guided us. Boundaries are like fences, she said. They keep the good in, bad out. Dad grumbled at first, but opened up about his own upbringing, strict parents who favored his brother. I repeated the cycle, he admitted. Mom shared guilt. I babied Sarah to avoid conflict. Sarah confessed entitlement. I leaned on M because it was easy. That slap? Pure frustration at my own failures. I spoke my truth. I felt invisible. Used. Tears flowed, but cathartic. Legally, we touched on the slap, Dr. Ramirez advised a no-contact period if needed, but since no charges, focus on healing. Homework, weekly check-ins, repayment plan. Sarah started a job at a local boutique, depositing $200 monthly into my account. Small, but symbolic. Life normalized with tweaks. Sunday barbecues became equitable. I planned, but Sarah cooked. Gifts? Individual now. No more from both. At work, my analytics role felt lighter. I even took a promotion, channeling newfound assertiveness. Months passed. The West's vastness inspired reflection. A weekend hike in the superstitions with Sarah, tentative, but bonding. Remember that rest stop? She asked, boots crunching. Worst day ever. I nodded. Best for me in hindsight. We laughed. A real one. She shared therapy insights. I'm learning accountability. No more drama queen. Dad surprised me with a fishing trip, just us, to Lake Powell. I see your strength now, he said. Lines cast. Proud of you. Mom baked my favorite pie. No occasion needed. Healing wasn't linear. Arguments flared. But we talked through. One evening, watching a sunset from my balcony, phone buzzed a group text. Family road trip redo? Equals split. I smiled. Only if we all pay. Agreements poured in. The new plan, shorter. To Sedona. Shared costs. Shared decisions. This humane pivot taught. Revenge isolates. But boundaries invite growth. In American families, where independence is prized, admitting faults bridges gaps. My story's lesson? Self-worth sparks change, gentle, profound. As seasons turned in the Southwest, monsoons giving way to crisp fall, the Carter family evolved. Our redo trip to Sedona was transformative. Shared driving, equal bills, genuine laughs under red rock sunsets.
No slaps. No secrets.
Sarah led a hike, owning her growth. Dad grilled steaks, praising us both,
Mom captura't moments.
eyes shining. Back home, patterns solidified. Sarah paid off the ring fully, starting a savings account. For my own adventures, she said. I invested refunds in a solo getaway to Big Sur, ocean views, self-care. Work thrived. I mentored juniors on boundaries. Holidays arrived drama-free. Christmas gifts, thoughtful, individual. Mom's scarf from me. Dad's tools from Sarah.
No assumptions.
Reflecting on that pivotal rest stop, I see clarity's power. The slap was a catalyst, not for destruction, but reconstruction. Legally clear, emotionally profound. In Western U.S. culture, where self-reliance reigns, families bend like sagebrush in wind, resilient. The light lesson? Prioritize self-respect. It ripples, fostering empathy. Families aren't perfect, but with effort, they mend. I'm Emily Carter, still reliable, but now valued. And that's the real victory.